because of this.
In a double case today, boyfriends Edward Brady Woods and Jacob Peck are both suing an ex-roommate they met online. Edward accuses the defendant of crashing his car while they were on a cross-country trip to pick up a teenager the defendant met on the internet. Jacob claims the defendant is a leech and a moocher who conned Jacob into paying his portion of the bills on Jacob's credit card and never paid him back. Defendant William Shaw is countersuing both 18-year-old Brady and Jacob. William claims when he was being airlifted from the accident in Edward's car, he asked Edward to grab his laptop computer and hasn't seen it since. He's countersuing them both for damages to the truck he left for them when he moved so they'd have something to drive.
Start with you, sir.
All right, Your Honor, I met Mr. Shaw through some mutual friends of mine and Jacob's. It was over the internet. They were in Florida. We were informed that he was losing his apartment due to it being raised to construct a shopping mall. We took him into our home shortly after, about 2 weeks after we were informed of this. He lived with us for about 2 months after that. During this time period, he showed himself to be very lazy, hang on the internet most of the time, wouldn't find a job. But he would shift between different romantic interests. Sometime at the end of September, I was informed.
What do you mean he was shifting romantic interests?
I think every day
was that
a different person.
Why was that of any concern of yours?
It's just because the reason why he was using my car at the time was so we could rescue one of his potential interests.
Okay.
That it was just a frivolous thing.
Tell me what happened there.
End of September, I was informed of a 17-year-old that he was interested in the state of Idaho.
How old are you?
I'm 21, Your Honor.
Okay. Go ahead.
Right. The child was in an abusive home, and Mr. Shaw had seen a police officer that confirmed that it would be okay for this to happen, for us to bring him here. No legal proceedings could take place against us, so I agreed. He had also played against the home situation I had. I had a very rough situation at home between my parents. It wasn't great. I left when I was 17 as well.
Okay.
We left, I think it was on the 20th of September. And this was the middle of the night because we had to leave right then because it was very important that we get there on time.
To pick up the young man
right
from his abusive household.
Right. He was going to meet us at a Walmart. We were going to pick him up there. We left that night. It was about 3 in the morning. We just got back from seeing a movie, and we were speeding the entire way there. Mr. Shaw did most of the driving. Multiple times during the night and the next day, I suggested we take a break because I was too tired to drive.
How many hours drive was it?
Pretty sure it was over 20 hours. I'm not sure the exact number now.
So you all were driving to pick him up.
Right. We only stopped maybe once or twice to get coffee, take a brief nap. It was never enough to make Mr. Shaw or me fit for driving. Sometime early on the 22nd, around 6 a.m., sun had just come up.
Now, why did you all have to get to this young man so quickly?
I'm not sure.
Why did I have to get to him so quickly?
Because basically he could not stand where he was living anymore, and I felt he was in imminent danger of being harmed by his uncle who he was living with.
You sure you just wasn't anxious to see him?
Yes, I'm sure, Your Honor, because I had been anxious to see him for a couple of months, and
maybe you just got overcome one night. Maybe he said something on that internet that just just said, we got to go now.
Well.
I can't wait no longer.
Well, Your Honor, I had...
Back up the car. Gas up the car. Let's go.
I had informed them of this a couple of weeks in advance, Your Honor.
Oh, you had planned a couple of weeks in advance to go that night?
Your Honor, that's untrue.
He said y'all left under emergency in the middle of the night. It was a had-to-be-there situation. Anyhow, go ahead. That's off the point. So, all right. You all riding to go pick up this young boy?
Right. I was asleep in the passenger seat. It was the early morning on the 22nd. I wake up with the car mid-flipping on the freeway.
My goodness.
Yeah, I wake up.
While he was driving?
While he was driving.
Ooh,
I wake up in the median, the car's upside down, and...
No one injured?
I was injured, Your Honor.
He was injured.
Oh, what happened to you?
Cracked my skull open.
Yeah.
All right. You all right now?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm here.
His hair is back.
Huh?
I'm here, aren't I?
Yeah, but that don't mean you're all right. I haven't heard you talk much. You could be crazy as a veggie bug. Nah, I don't know.
I'm no crazier than they are.
More of Judge Mathis when we return.
While I was being loaded into the helicopter by firefighters, I told Brady to grab the laptop.
While your skull is split open.
Yeah.
Right. You say you got to get that computer. That's right. You had to have your internet. Oh, that's right.
Don't forget my internet!
If you're in Chicago and would like to attend a taping of the Judge Mathis Show, call us toll-free at 1-866-3-MATHIS. Plaintiff Edward Woods claims his ex-roommate crashed his car driving to get a teenager he'd met on the internet.
Go ahead, sir. So he totaled your car? That's why you're suing him?
Exactly. I also had photos of the accident
All right.
that I forgot to prevent.
All right. The only issue, sir, whether you were negligent in driving his car, resulting in totaling it. Well, falling asleep at the wheel is usually presumed as negligent, sir.
At our last stop, I pointed out to Edward that I was too tired to continue driving. And
I had also told him that we should take a break.
I pointed out that I was too tired to continue driving, and he's like, no, we got to get there.
No, I was adamant the entire time that we needed to stop to sleep.
Yeah, because it wasn't your boy you were going to get, right?
Exactly.
So it sounds more like you, sir. You were the one anxious and adamant to keep driving.
I knew I needed sleep, Your Honor, because it was a 31-hour drive.
That's my point. That's why you certainly were negligent. You knew you needed sleep, yet you continued to drive.
I told Edward he needed to stay awake and, help me keep from nodding off.
I haven't had any sleep either.
The value of your car, sir? You have estimates?
Yes, I have the Blue Book value. Your
counterclaim against him is for the cost of a laptop computer and half the cost of your damaged truck. Prove that.
All right. The laptop computer was in the glove box of the car. While I was being loaded into the helicopter by firefighters, I told Brady to grab the laptop.
While your skull is split open. Yeah. Right. You say you got to get that computer. That's right. You had to have your internet. That's right. Life or death. Life or death. I got to talk to this young boy. Whatever.
Don't forget my internet.
Man,
pretty much, Your Honor.
That must have been pretty special internet chat. It must have been some pretty special chats y'all were having. Oh, my goodness. All right, go ahead.
After this accident, I felt bad because now they didn't have a way to get to work, and if they didn't have a way to get to work, they were in danger of losing their house. And I had a 1984 Ford F-150 pickup. When I moved out, I stated that I would loan them the pickup and I would keep the insurance and registration current. And I eventually come back for the pickup in November, and the pickup's power steering was damaged, the hood latches were damaged, which Edward stated...
All of this was damaged prior to him even arriving at our location.
Let him finish, sir. Go ahead. What else?
And the differential had no oil in it.
So you want money for oil, power steering, and a hood?
Yeah.
You have your estimates?
No, I don't. I had to scrap the truck.
Pardon me?
I had to scrap the truck. It got towed by the Illinois State Police.
Before or after you discovered the damages?
After. I was attempting to get it back to Ohio so I could get it repaired.
You were driving it?
Yes.
And how did it stop on you?
It basically kept leaking oil faster than I could put it in.
What do you all say was the problem when you all began using his truck?
The power steering was already dead to the point you had to pour power steering in every time you started it because it would leak out. As you turned the wheel, there was a jet. The oil was leaking to the point you had to fill it up at least once a week.
What about the hood?
The hood did fly open after I had put oil into it. I might not have put the hood down hard enough, and it did fly up on the road. That's what caused
no estimate of the hood? All right, we'll take a guess. What, $20? What?
I looked around on eBay. Hoods for an 84 F-150 go for about $100.
I thought you'd come up with something. All right.
Also,
yes, sir.
Edward is claiming $3,000 for his vehicle. I did some research in the Blue Book. It's worth $1,700 tops.
You have that? Please, go on.
I have what it's worth as private party and as trade-in.
All right.
Because Edward was discussing trading it in on a police interceptor.
All right.
Per your request.
Dog, you can get back over there. You say you like young guys. You're too old. Come on. Back over here. You're too old for him. Trying to hang around over there. You don't deal that old, do you? You're
too old.
You're not internet savvy anyway. You can't tell him what he want to hear on that internet. with regard to this laptop computer, sir?
We actually have it with us today, Your Honor. We wish to return it to him.
Okay.
It was received a few weeks after the accident.
All right. You have a seat, sir. And we'll get to case 2, which is Mr. Peck versus Mr. Shaw. Mr. Peck, you're suing your ex-roommate for overdraft fees on your credit card. You're suing him for $1,000. He's countersuing you for $125, which he believes is your share of the damages to the truck.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just want to start off right by the fact that Mr. Shaw here is pretty much a leech. He moves from place to place, deceives people into getting what he wants. I have statements from other people stating that, you know, he's done this before in the past. He finds people on the internet to go move in with, claiming that...
That's why he needed that internet. That's why he needed that internet.
Claiming that, you know, whenever we first agreed to bring him over from Kansas City to St. Louis, he agreed with me that he would find a source of income within about 2 weeks, which is not all especially hard to do, especially, you know, given the fast food market and everything. He could have found a place to work. Okay. What wound up happening was he wound up taking him 2 months. I had to find him a source of income at a local restaurant establishment that we ate at constantly. So what wound up happening is the expenses to his truck, I had to pay for oil, gas, a new battery cables, and a whole bunch of other stuff for his truck. I had to provide his general upkeep, such as food, living expenses, and clothing and such like that.
He agreed to repay you?
And he agreed to repay me at one time whenever I mentioned that whenever, you know, our
How did you come to $1,000?
That's the limit on my credit card, sir, and that's what it would hit at.
You have that?
I don't have my credit card statement with me, Your Honor, but I do have bank statements stating the overdraft.
Right. Sir, what do you have to say about this?
Well, Jacob has always been irresponsible with managing his money. He eats out at Arby's every day, spending about $7 a person. He is making payments on a vehicle that does not run. Jacob and Brady were irresponsible roommates.
Judge Mathis will be right back.
So let me just say, sir, you lived with these guys 2 months, never paid them any rent, ate their food, drank their soda, used their electricity, and we know how much that was on the internet.
Plaintiff Jacob Peck claims the ex-roommate he met online is a leech and a mooch who owes him and his boyfriend money.
Let me ask you a couple key questions, sir. When you moved in with them, were you working?
No, I was not.
How long did you live there with them without working?
2 months, Your Honor.
How much money were you paying them while living there with them? Yet they are irresponsible roommates.
Your Honor,
and they don't know how to manage, and he doesn't know how to manage his money.
Your Honor, I was selling my personal property on eBay to try and give him what?
I also have a statement from one.
You don't know how you sound, do you? He don't know how to manage his money. He goes to work, and then he spends all of his money, and that's the key word. He goes to work, then he spends his money.
Your Honor,
on Arby's.
Your Honor, I never asked him to spend any money on me.
Oh, that's a lie. That's a lie.
How much
I'm starving.
money did he give you, sir?
He never gave me any cash.
How much money did he spend on you?
I would estimate it about $200.
And you believe they were all gifts?
Pretty much.
What were they?
It was basically like I would be sitting there at my computer. He'd come in, drop.
There you go.
I was researching jobs in the area, Your Honor.
You'd be sitting there at your computer, and he'd come in and do what? I mean, he'd knock first, wouldn't he? And actually, well, you're decent, I'm sure.
Yes. He would
know how you act on that computer. Go ahead, what?
He would, like, say, here, and give me some soda. All right?
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't anything that I had asked for.
All right. $200 in sodas?
So, over 2 months, it adds up.
Over 2 months, it adds up?
Yes.
All right. He said all he received from you is $200 in sodas.
That's not
over
true,
a 2 month period. Do you have any evidence of what you purchased?
Well, yes, Your Honor, I do have bank statements from my bank.
So you actually went to the bank to withdraw money to buy him soda?
No, I did not withdraw money to buy him sodas.
What did you purchase?
Well, I bought food for him. I bought, when we went to Arby's constantly, we put it on. Well, the reason why is because our refrigerator was not working.
Get past the sodas now. Okay, sodas and a hamburger. No, roast beef. Yeah. All right. What else did you purchase?
we would. I mean, just general.
You're not proving your case, sir. And showing me your bank statements. Are these your credit card?
Well, yeah, we did it on debit card because there was no money that we could actually withdraw.
Okay, tell me, specify. Are they highlighted here?
Yeah,
the items?
Overdraft charges are highlighted, Your Honor.
What does that tell me?
Well,
your overdraft charges. How does that tell me that you purchased him items that he agreed to repay?
Basically, what wound up happening, Your Honor, was during the time before Mr. Shaw came into our house, me and Brady were living comfortably without overdrafting our credit card. What wound up happening was whenever we started overdrafting and realizing that we were overdrafted, I informed Mr. Shaw of the situation and his unemployment, and what wound up happening is he agreed to pay me back the sum of the overdraft fees, trying to help me pay.
Did you ever agree to pay him back overdraft fees?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
That's a lie.
What's you're his witness on this? Maybe you can tell me what you used the money on. All I've heard so far are sodas and roast beef sandwich.
It was gas for my car while he was driving it to find, employment.
Okay.
It was oil for his car. It was the battery in his truck.
Okay.
It was the battery cable, power steering fluid, gas for the truck when it finally did work.
All right.
The trip out to Kansas City to pick him up. That was a 4-hour trip there and back.
And sir, what about those things? Sounds like a little more than soda to me.
They never asked me for repayment for the trip.
But did you receive that? You told me all you ever received from them was $200 worth of soda.
They did come out and get me, but they never asked me for payment. They said, don't worry about it.
So let me just say, sir, you lived with these guys 2 months, never paid them any rent, used up their furniture, sat there.
They didn't have any furniture.
Ate at their table, ate their food, drank their soda, used their electricity, and we know how much that was on the internet. And in addition to that, used gas, oils that they paid for. You don't think you should pay them anything?
Also, Your Honor,
I don't think it's a complete $1,000, Your Honor.
All right, you don't think it's $1,000. All right. Now let's get to your counterclaim. Your counterclaim is for you want him to pay for half the damage to the truck as well, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Was he driving it as well?
I do not know, Your Honor. I would assume so.
Were you driving the truck?
No, sir, I do not know how to drive a stick shift.
All right. I'll be back with my decision, gentlemen. That's enough.
Also, Your Honor,
yes.
Just one more thing.
What?
I have a written statement from a previous tenant that he stayed with out in Kansas City before he actually found a job out in Kansas City. Basically, it states that he was doing the exact same thing, living in his house for 2 months. He had to find him a job. Basically, it wound up being the exact same story as ours.
It also has a statement about him bragging about his
driving habits.
All right. Mr. Shaw? This person said you mooched off of them, too. What do you have to say? The last person you stayed with before them said you mooched off him and didn't pay anything.
He had said at the time that it was okay, I didn't have to worry about it until he got me this job at Package Service Company.
And he never did pay him back.
Everybody tell you don't worry about it when it comes to their money, huh? Everybody you know say don't worry about it. All right.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. All right. Who you staying with now?
I got an apartment in Ohio.
By yourself?
Yeah.
And you paying me? You're actually paying? You paying?
Yeah.
Show me a receipt. You ain't paying no bill. Show me a receipt that you paid somebody something.
I don't have any receipts.
I know you don't. You ain't paid nobody nothing.
Here's $54 for the cab fare.
You better get back on that internet. Try to find your place.
Stay tuned. The verdict next. We now return to Judge Mathis.
All right, once again, Mr. Woods, plaintiff one, this is 2 separate cases. In case 1, you are suing the defendant, your ex-roommate, for $3,000, alleging he owes you this money for totaling your car.
Right.
And he's countersuing you for $375 for the cost of the laptop that was in your car when it was totaled, and for half of the cost of his truck, which he allowed you to borrow after he totaled your car, and the damage you did to his truck while using it. He said several times, I'm too sleepy to drive. Yet he continued to drive. That's when you were negligent, sir, so therefore you do owe him. The Blue Book values you gave me one for $3,200 in excellent tip-top shape. You gave me one for $1,600 for fair condition. I'll find a median there, give you $2,000. I will grant you $100 for the hood that he admittedly damaged on your truck. So your judgment is $100, yours is $2,000. Subtract that $100 of the defendants, and you are granted $1,900. All right, you can have a seat. By the way, part of your judgment also in case 1 was to receive his laptop back. So, Doyle, please, would you give him his laptop back? That's part of his judgment in case 1. Watch this. Yeah, look at that smile, man. He got his life back. Look at it, man. You ain't never been that happy in your life, have you?
You know how hard these are to get?
I know. I know it's hard to get. All right, now let's get to case 2. And the second case was you, Mr. Peck, suing the defendant for $1,000, alleging he owes you this money for overdraft fees on your credit card from the time you in particular, were loaning him monies that he agreed to repay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your counterclaim was against him as well for half of the damaged truck. You say you don't even know how to drive a stick shift?
Nope.
Never drove it? I've given plaintiff 1 the total amount of the damages, so your counterclaim against him for the damage to your truck is dismissed. With regard to your claim, however, against him, you have not proven $1,000. I do believe you owe him something. Not quite $1,000. You admit to receiving $200 in sodas.
Code Red's expensive.
Right. So I'll grant you $500 for your expenditures toward him.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You gentlemen have a good day.
I was pretty much scared of Mr. Shaw due to the fact that he kept on verbally assaulting me and such like that. There's many times where I try to confront him on the issues about our living arrangements. He would get very short-tempered and violent with me.
Jacob's an asshat.
Yes, and he uses words like that.